Having defeated Charon, Kratos journeyed deeper into Hades and closer to his goals. The bright light of Helios illuminated all of the underworld. But something on the shore caught his attention, and to Kratos, it almost seemed an apparition.
Calliope!
Upon seeing his daughter, Kratos realized that all that he had been working for, all that he had wanted, was within reach. Years of service to the gods had not delivered him from his pain, never had it eased the burden of his past. And now, Calliope was found.
Calliope!
Hi everybody, and welcome back to the final episode of Let's Play God of War, Chains of Olympus. We are now about to reach the final area of the game, having just acquired the final magical ability of the game, Charon's Wrath. That stupid stunlock attack that Charon himself used on us so many times in the previous episode. We can now use it with R1 circle. It stunlocks enemies just like it did to us. And powering it up, leveling it up I should say, doesn't make it more powerful, but it does allow you to target more enemies at once. So it's a good idea to power this up as soon as you can, to be able to stunlock as many enemies as possible, especially for this final area. This is a quite useful power for this final area. You'll be swapping back and forth between Charon's Wrath and the Ifrit. Basically anytime you're kind of in a pinch, you'll be using either one of those two. Not really the Light of Dawn so much. Like I said, you don't really use the Light of Dawn that much, but Charon's Wrath and the Ifrit you'll be using quite a bit. So make sure you level up Charon's Wrath as soon as you can. You get this nice little area to test it out. Again, similar to when we got the Gauntlet of Zeus, you want to use a combination of your new power as well as your Blade of Chaos strategy of launching enemies up into the air and then mashing circle for safe kills. You know, that's just the way God mode is in Chains of Olympus, so keep going with that strategy, even when you're given new abilities and power-ups, because you never know. Enemies can kill you very, very fast. These satyrs and those regulars and those Hades variants of the soldiers are the worst enemies of the game, alongside the satyr bombers, and you know, you just want to make sure you don't give them any opportunities to hurt you. Even though other things like the Gauntlet of Zeus and Charon's Wrath are more powerful, you know, the Blades of Chaos strategy is safer overall, and that may be what you're looking for. Regardless, that fight is now over. We have our final magic ability, and we now move in to the final area of the game. Very exciting, and a lot of plot stuff coming up right now. A lot of really good plot stuff with Kratos, and even the external plot stuff with Helios. All of it fantastic. I really love the ending of Chains of Olympus. It's very difficult in terms of gameplay, but in terms of story, the end of Chains of Olympus is really wonderful. I really like how this all goes down here in this final hour that we have together in this little adventure. And yeah, like I said before, short adventure, not even 4 hours long. I mean, a little over 4 hours long if you count the number of deaths and stuff. Here I'm just showing off that we have everything now, so we have all the things in all the menus. We are all set for the end of the game, as strong as we could possibly be. We still need a few more red orbs from the Temple of Persephone to upgrade our final powers and everything, but well, look, Calliope. We still need a few more red orbs to finish powering up our stuff, which we'll be getting here in the Temple of Persephone and in the next area, but we're basically done. And here we get to learn about Persephone and the temple itself. So this is the domain of Persephone, the wife of Hades and goddess of the underworld. That's pretty cool. We get to learn a little bit more about the actual myth of Persephone. We didn't already know what it was all about. The tragic queen sorrowfully rules over the dead. Her return to Earth in the spring is marked by the flowering of the meadows. Her return to the underworld in the fall sees the dying of plants and the halting of growth. Classic mythology thing of the people of that era using myths and stories like this to explain natural phenomena happening around them without the use of science, but rather the use of of storytelling and the use of myths to explain the changing of the seasons and things like that. This whole story about how Persephone was kidnapped by Hades and was going to be given back, but then she tasted the pomegranate, a fruit exclusive to Hades, because she was just too curious, similar to the Adam and Eve and the apple that Eve partook in. And yeah, now she's trapped here every winter, forever. That's a pretty crappy life. But now we move on to actual gameplay. So the Temple of Persephone is divided up into a series of rooms and hallways. The first room is 2 Morpheus dogs and a bunch of Satyr bombers. Oh god, these Satyr bombers suck so much. I died another time to these Satyr bombers because they're just so awful. The way you want to deal with this room is deal with the 2 dogs first. So when the first dog appears... Hey everybody, it's me from the future. Sorry to say that the next, minute and a half of commentary is just missing from the original Audacity file. I don't know what happened, but it's gone, just some glitch, and just got rid of it entirely. So apologies for that. Hopefully it doesn't get in the way too much of this video. Basically all I was saying in this missing minute is that you want to deal with these 2 dogs up here. You want to do it away from the Satyr bombers. That way they don't get in the way with their very deadly fire attacks. The dogs are going to have one more attack that they're about to show off in a few seconds here, where they pin Kratos down, as you can see. All you have to do is just mash L1 and R1 really fast. Doing that attack sets them up in a prime position to be attacked, isolated from all the other enemies. And yeah, that's all that I was basically saying at that point. At this point, Kratos has to deal with just Satyr bombers after dealing with both dogs. Be careful though, because the Satyr bombers are still pretty deadly. You're going to want to use magic at this point. I would recommend Charon's Wrath, possibly the Ifrit if you would like. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened with Audacity. It's the first time it's ever had some kind of a glitch like this, but hopefully it doesn't get in the way too hard with the rest of the video. The regular commentary is going to be back on soon. There are no more interruptions aside from this. Apologies in advance. Thank you, and bye-bye. There's a lot of them, unfortunately. It's not fun. Even with the dogs taken care of, careful of their short-range attack as well, where they just try to ram you with their heads. With their horns, I should say. Eventually, they'll all go down, and you can continue exploring. The Temple of Persephone is the game's final major quote-unquote dungeon. It's not really a dungeon so much as it is a gauntlet of enemies. It's just a series of rooms and hallways where you're going to fight a lot of enemies and get a lot of red orbs in the meantime to finish upgrading all of your things. And if you can't finish upgrading all your things with the orbs in the Temple of Persephone, don't worry, because the next area is going to give you a surplus of at least 10,000 more red orbs. So you're going to have enough to upgrade all your things. In this case, I'm going ahead and upgrading Charon's Wrath to level 3 just so I can keep targeting even more enemies. I don't have much magic right now, but when I do, that'll be a useful ability to have indeed. So moving away from that first room, we are now going to enter our first of 2 hallways. The 2 hallways are identical. There goes Calliope again. The 2 hallways are going to be virtually identical. There's a bunch of statues of Medusa heads. They do shoot the Medusa beam that can turn you to stone if you stand still long enough. So be sure to destroy at least one of them so you can have some room to maneuver. Both hallways are comprised of these same kinds of enemies, the Harpy heads, or the Harplings if you want to call them that, and Satyr swordsmen. So basically take care of the Harpies first, then take care of the Satyrs. The first hallway is pretty easy because there are more Harpy heads than there are Satyrs. The second hallway, which will be virtually identical to this one, is going to be the same story, except that there's going to be more Satyrs rather than Harpy heads. So, the second hallway is going to take you a lot more time. Even sped up, it still took a little while. And I did speed it up just because, for the sake of time, you know how to deal with the Satyrs by now. Just keep to a corner. Try to launch one of them up at a time, mash circle. If any Harpy heads come to you, just press circle to automatically take them down. Easy peasy, no problems. Moving on from that first hallway, we now have our first break room, so we get some more red orbs. And we can also get a heal up on magic and health. Don't expect this to heal up too much magic or too much health. You're not going to get full refills on anything anymore. But you will get enough to, survive a couple more hits now and again. So we also have a quick save point. And now we can move on to our next room. And this next room is going to be There goes Calliope again. Luring Kratos somewhere, perhaps? Who knows? Anyway, this next room is going to be an armored Cyclops and fully grown Harpies. So, you want to deal with the Harpies first. You already know how to deal with them. For fully grown Harpies, you want to hit them once with the Blades of Chaos, then press circle in order to automatically grab them and kill them. But you have to make sure you actually hit them with the Blades of Chaos first, otherwise it's not going to work. If they dive bomb you, you can't block that. You just have to dodge roll out of the way of that. Just keep focusing on the Harpies until they're all down for the count. You don't want to deal with the Cyclops in such tight quarters with other distractions in your way. I do die to the Cyclops, unfortunately. Not once, but 2 times. So we're gonna speed up here. We're gonna speed past this part with the Harpies, because after we dispatch with all the Harpies in the beginning, there's gonna be no more Harpies for the rest of the fight. This fight of multiple phases, because this is a multiple phase fight. So now that we've dealt with all the Harpies, we can go ahead and safely deal with the Cyclops on his own in these tight quarters. So Cyclops is going to come lumbering towards us. We know how to deal with them. When he starts attacking, just dodge roll out of the way of that. Use fully charged up Olympic strikes to finish the Cyclops as quickly as possible. I think a fully charged Olympic strike, I think it takes like 3 of them in God mode to finish off a Cyclops at full health, so... Or 4, I guess. Let's see if it is 4. Yeah, it is 4. There it goes. There it goes down. 4 fully charged Olympic strikes and it goes down. However, finishing off that one Cyclops is not the end of the fight. We now move on to phase 2, which is going to be not 1, but 2 more armored Cyclopses in these very, very tight, close quarters. So, you want to be very careful. You might not be able to fully charge up your Olympic strikes anymore. That's fine. Be sure to use some magic if you have any to spare. Charon's Wrath is good. You can use Ifrit as well if you want. Just try to take any opportunity you have. Hopefully the Cyclopses don't bunch up on each other. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. In this case, they seem to be taking it easy on me. They're not bunching up with each other, in which case I was free to focus on just the one. Be careful, because even though Cyclopses are not the strongest of the mythical creatures you fight in this game, it just takes a few of these stupid hits, especially that clap, for them to really do some serious life-threatening damage on you. But we've taken care of one. Thankfully, they've kept a pretty good distance for each other. Sometimes they don't. You saw at the very beginning of this that they were kind of bunched up together. They can do that sometimes, and they can stay like that for the entire fight, and that's very annoying. In this case, it took it easy on me, and actually didn't stay bunched up together, which allowed me to just focus on one at a time, which is the ideal strategy and ideal way of dealing with these guys in God mode. Now we're doing the QTE, and we're finishing off the Cyclops, and we're going to get to move on to the next hallway, I believe, of the Temple of Persephone. So that's all done now. Sometimes it takes a bit for Chains of Olympus to realize that you finished fighting all the enemies in a room, so that those magical barriers don't just disappear automatically. Sometimes you have to actually run up close to those magical barriers to make the game remember that that you're done with the fight and can move on now. It's weird, but it's fine. It's very small nitpick about Chains of Olympus. Make sure you stock up on more health or magic, whatever you really need most of. It's probably going to be health, because the Temple of Persephone is really, really goddamn difficult. It took a lot of practice to cut it down to as few deaths as I did, and even then I'm going to die a lot. Not in this next hallway, but the next major room after this hallway, we're going to be dying a lot. Anyway, second hallway, same deal as the first. There's going to be less Harpy heads this time, and more Satyr bomber, and more Satyr swordsmen. So just dispatch the Harpy heads, and then you can deal with all the Satyrs. Same deal. Stay in a corner, take down a Medusa head so you have some room to maneuver in without getting turned to stone. Target them one at a time, launch them in the air, mash circle. You know the deal. The best way of dealing with them in God mode. Just one more to go. Same deal. Launch them up in the air, mash circle, and it's dead. And that's it. We can now destroy these Harpy heads. Not these Harpy heads, Medusa statue heads if we want. We don't have to. We can just continue on whatever we want, but if you want a few extra red orbs, you can go ahead and do that. There we are. Okay. And now we move on to the penultimate room of the temple, and the most difficult of them all. There goes Calliope again. We're on the right track. I hope we're on the right track anyway. This is the penultimate battle of this temple area, and it's very difficult. The first phase is 2 armored minotaurs. These are the minotaurs I was talking about. These are the ones that don't behave like the minotaurs in the rest of the game. These guys suck. I'm gonna die so many times. Enjoy. So, this battle is 3 phases, and it's only the first phase that is really, 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 really terrible. With these 2 armored minotaurs that don't behave at all like the rest of the minotaurs in the rest of the game. You saw how close I was to that minotaur, and it still decided to do a charge attack at me as opposed to a headbutt. This battle is almost entirely based on luck. Just keep hammering away with your Gauntlet of Zeus. Hopefully you're going to kill them faster than they can kill you. You notice that I'm now in this battle with more health than I was when I first came in. That is because when you die enough times in Chains of Olympus, the game starts giving you pity health after a certain amount of deaths. I think after like 5 deaths, the game starts giving you pity health to give you a better chance with whatever you may be struggling with at that time. So after 5 deaths, you start getting some health back to make it a little easier for yourself. So in that case, I could actually take a hit from a minotaur if I had to. Whatever. I hate those 2 minotaurs so much. They suck. 7 times I died to them. Anyway, it's just the first phase of the battle that's really difficult against those 2 armored minotaurs. The second phase is just against these 3 satyrs. I decided to show off the other strategy to deal with these guys with the Olympic Strike as opposed to just launching them up in the air with the Blades of Chaos. Blades of Chaos strategy works perfectly well, but, you know, I was mad. I wanted to just finish these guys off. So I wanted to do it with some pain with my big meaty Gauntlet of Zeus. So there goes one, and there goes the other one. Right, well, not yet, got a free hit off me. There goes the other one, and now we move on to phase 3 of the fight. Phase 3 is going to be another armored minotaur, just the one, however, not 2 more, just 1 more. Same deal as before. This minotaur does not behave at all like the minotaurs in the rest of the game. If you get close to it, there's no guarantee it's going to do a headbutt. It's going to do whatever the fuck it wants at any particular point in time, and it's just a matter of luck. If you do more damage to it in the allotted amount of time, then it will do to you. So, use your Gauntlet of Zeus to lay down as much damage as possible. Get to that QTE as quickly as possible, so you know that you're almost done. This is the final phase of this fight. Just the 1 minotaur. Don't worry, you're not going to get ambushed by another one at some point. It's just this one. It's the last minotaur of the game at last. Of course, it got 1 more hit off me because, of course, it did. Whatever. Fuck these minotaurs. It's dead now. That is the last minotaur of the game. That is the hardest regular fight of the game, and it's all because of that first phase against the 2 armored minotaurs. 7 deaths, I want to stress again. I was doing really well in this playthrough to get not that many deaths, but 7 on this fight. I mean, god damn it. But with that done, we have basically finished the hardest part of Chains of Olympus, excluding one aspect of the final boss that we will be getting into later on. For now, though, we have this nice cinematic little elevator climb here. You can bust down these walls for some extra red orbs. Occasionally, there will be something hidden behind these cracked walls, so make sure to break them all to investigate what's behind them all. Every time you break a wall, you will be accosted by some harpy heads, so be aware of that. There is this one little opening around the middle of the elevator that you can get yourself a free red orb chest and white chest. That edit is there because I actually went all the way up to the top of the elevator, then had to come back down to because I realized that I had skipped that little alcove there. So that's what that edit was about. But you didn't miss anything in between. One cracked wall, the alcove, another cracked wall, and then this third cracked wall here, which has a white chest for us to get more red orbs and some health, which is nice. Not that we're really going to need it super hard for this next fight. That edit there was because I'd gotten all the way up to the top of the elevator again, realized I hadn't gotten to the alcove for the red orb chest and the white chest, so I went back down to get them. Anyway, we're now in the final fight of the Temple of Persephone, and compared to the Minotaur fight, this is really easy. I don't even die at all in this fight because it's really easy. It's 2 purple Medusas and a bunch of Harpy heads for the first phase. The Medusas are really easy. If you're just spending your time mashing circle to take down the Harpy heads, the Medusas aren't going to do anything. Using your Gauntlet of Zeus, look at how quickly I took care of that Medusa. It took no effort at all on my part. Just mashing the square button again. Just that's it. We're all done with that, with the first phase of the fight. The second phase of the fight is just as easy. It's just going to be this one armored Cyclops and a few more Harpy heads. So we're going to go ahead and dispatch the Harpy heads first after we use the Gauntlet of Zeus to get rid of the armor really quickly. As you saw, the Gauntlet of Zeus is very useful for very quickly removing armor from armored enemies. You can also do it with the Blades of Chaos if you wanted to, with a square-square-triangle combo, or any combo that ends in triangle, but it's much faster and safer to do it with the Gauntlet of Zeus to remove armor. Anyway, this is it. This Cyclops is the last battle of the Temple of Persephone. There is no more after this. We get to move on to the final area of the game and the end. And compared to the Minotaur fight, this is really lopsided. That Minotaur fight probably should have been the last thing we did, because this is really easy. I don't know why they decided that this would be the final fight when it is so much easier compared to everything we've done in this temple so far. This temple is the hardest area in Chains of Olympus. It's very classic God of War difficulty. It's very unrelenting. Lots of enemies, lots of phases to every fight. Very few breaks. But we're done now. That is the end of the Temple of Persephone. The game is going to take a few seconds to realize that that's the end. There we go. Now it realized that that's the end of the Temple of Persephone. And we can get our last few red orbs here before we move on to the final area of the game. That's exciting. We're almost done. You can open both these doors. That is the right way to go. The one with the direction with the green orb and magic chest. This way is another red orb chest and our final white chest of the game. There is no more after this. This is the 53rd and final white chest. Have a crack open for a bunch of red orbs. Crack open the red orb chest as well. And we're going to go ahead and do some more upgrading. I believe now I'm going to upgrade the Ifrit. Yep. Meaning that the only thing we will have left to upgrade after this will be the Light of Dawn, the R1 square magic attack, those little balls of light that we can shoot. Again, not as necessary as everything else in the game, but we will soon enough have enough red orbs to upgrade it. And as you may recall, if it wasn't for that bug in the previous episode with the chests that didn't respawn, I would have already had enough to... oh, there goes Calliope again. I would have already had enough red orbs to... upgrade everything by the end of the Temple of Persephone. But even if you don't, this next area you're going to get a surplus of red orbs, like very, very quickly. So there is no issue at all if you are not able to fully upgrade everything yet, because you're going to have a surplus soon enough. And there's our next to last save point, and now we move on to the final area of the game. This is the Groves of Persephone. We're going to have ourselves a cutscene here, so I will see you after that is done.
Calliope! Calliope, where are you?
Kratos looked, but his daughter was nowhere to be seen. In the middle of the room sat a graceful figure, a figure he recognized all too well. Persephone, wife of Hades, and queen of the undead.
Where is my daughter, witch?
Choose your words carefully, Ghost of Sparta. You address the goddess of the underworld. Your daughter is well. She lives among the pure souls in the Elysian fields.
Lead me to her.
Have you forgotten, Kratos? The Olympians need you. They slumber at the hand of Morpheus.
I have faithfully served the gods, yet they do not give me what I ask. I grow weary of their demands.
The gods on Olympus failed me too, Kratos. I was betrayed by Zeus and tricked by my husband Hades. Now I am to stay in the underworld as Queen of the Dead, to serve the fallen and care for them as my own children.
Persephone! I demand to see my daughter!
As you wish. If Calliope is your true desire, I can help you. But be warned, Ghost of Sparta. The world of man will suffer because of your choice.
I care little for the world and its suffering! Where is she?
If you are to see your daughter again, you must become worthy of Elysium. Cast your weapons at the Forsaken Tree, and let it release the evils of your past. Only then will you be free of your sins, and be granted passage through divine gates.
Well, of course, we want to see Calliope again, so we're going to have to do this. Going to have to give up everything. Go ahead and press circle to attach your Blades of Chaos to the tree and just give up everything you have. Every single thing you worked so hard for these past few hours in this game. Just give it up because we don't need it anymore. It's time to have our life back, ideally. It's time to have some peace and some paradise at last. So give it all up. Give up all your health upgrades, all your magic. You don't need it. Give up your red orbs. It's done. We are now just a man once more. That's it.
You have done well, Kratos. Walk through the portal and find the one you seek.
Calliope!
Father?
My child.
Why did you go?
I am here now, child. And I will not leave you again.
I have watched over you pathetic mortals for 1,000 years, and it is always the same. Serving yourself before the needs of others has always been your flaw. But no matter. For now you serve my purpose. It is time for all that came before to end. The Titan will fulfill his role and finish what I have started. I released Atlas.
You?
As you were pathetically disarming yourself, Atlas completed the task I set him out to do. With the power of the sun in his hands, it is only a matter of time before he destroys the pillar that holds the world. And Olympus with it.
But why?
Do you think it was my choice to wed a man I did not love? Live a life I did not choose? I was betrayed by the very gods that once saw me as their own, but no more. Once the pillar is destroyed, the world will revert into chaos.
And what is to become of you?
I will have my peace and be free from this miserable existence. I will perish, but it is my choice.
Father? What's happening? I'm scared.
In your selfish choice to be with your daughter, you have caused her ruin.
No.
Elysium falls too, Kratos. She will perish.
No! I will not let the gods take her from me again!
Father!
The choice was clear to him, yet impossible to make. To stay with his daughter meant the end of the world and the end of her. To stop Persephone and Atlas would mean forsaking his daughter forever. While his hatred and anger for the gods grew ever stronger, he knew there was but one thing to do.
Father, please! Please! Father, no!
And so, like Ares, Persephone is also trying to betray the gods. We have to get all our power back, and to do that, we have to kill all these pure souls of Elysium.
Kratos soon realized that what he gained in humanity, he lost in power.
You will notice that we are getting a ton more red orbs than we gave up at the Forsaken Tree, so this is where the surplus of red orbs come from.
He would need to become the monster he once was if he was to defeat Persephone.
Now that we have our blades back, we can kill these pure souls in just one hit with the Blades of Chaos, but be warned, now that we do have our weapons back, or at least one weapon back, soldiers of the Hades variant are going to come chasing after us, which is great. You are in absolutely no position to deal with them now, so don't even try, just run away from them. Run around in big circles, kill any pure souls that happen to come your way. Yeah.
He would need to become the Ghost of Sparta once again if he was to save his child.
After the next major cutscene, the next major pre-rendered cutscene, you will be able to dispatch these soldiers, finally. But until then, just keep running away from them. They're just going to keep respawning if you do take the time to stop and kill them. So just focus on killing the pure souls. Focus on getting back a ton of red orbs, a ton of health, and a ton of magic. Don't worry about it. I believe just one more will be enough. Yeah, here we go.
He would need to sacrifice his life so that she may live.
No! Father, no!
At that moment, Kratos knew his destiny was not with Calliope. The fates were never that kind.
Well, now that Kratos is thoroughly, actually pissed off, we can go ahead and dispatch with these soldiers. Yeah. I would recommend using the Ifrit or Charon's Wrath here to start whittling down their numbers a bit. Now that the Ifrit is fully powered up, the Ifrit will do this big final area of effect blast after he's done mashing the ground a few times, as you can see. And that's that. That takes care of those stupid soldiers. Even though we don't have to anymore, we can still keep killing the last few pure souls of Elysium if we wanted to, for even more red orbs. As you can see, I went in with like 5,000 or something red orbs, and now I have nearly 15,000. You get a huge surplus of red orbs in this final area in the Groves of Persephone. So we now have more than enough red orbs to power up our final weapon here. So if you were even a little bit diligent in collecting white chests and red orbs and red orb chests and all that stuff, you're going to have enough red orbs to fully power up everything by the end of this game. Even if you did suffer at that glitch where there's Calliope. Still sad, of course. Even if you did miss out on those red orbs because of that bug from the previous episode, don't worry, because at this point, even with that, you still have more than enough to get everything. So now we have our final regular fight of the game. This is, compared to all the fights in the Temple of Persephone, this is really easy. It's 3 phases. The first phase is going to be the most difficult because you're dealing with archers and, of course, the soldiers of the Hades variant, which are, of course, always very, very annoying. Focus on dispatching the archers first. Just get close to them, mash circle, and you will automatically kill them, of course, as per the usual at this point. After you've dealt with the archers, you can go ahead and deal with the actual soldiers themselves. The soldiers do all have shields, so you're going to have to use your Gauntlet of Zeus in the beginning to actually, remove that piece of armor from them. At which point, you can either keep using the Gauntlet of Zeus if you want, or you can go ahead and switch over to your Blades of Chaos for that safer strategy. I don't use the Blades of Chaos in the beginning, and I'm going to suffer for it. I'm nearly going to die in this very, very easy fight because I just wasn't super careful in this particular final encounter. I just switched over to the Blades of Chaos. But still, these soldiers are just so annoying that even if you do properly switch over to the weapons and stuff, it's still a gamble if how much damage you're going to take, how well you're going to do against them. Very annoying enemies. But of the 3 phases, this is going to be the most difficult of the 3 phases. And even then, it's not that bad. But Jesus, look at how much damage that fucking soldier did with that one attack. Whatever. Phase 2 is just one dog of Morpheus. Literally, just one dog. No archers, no backup archers, no no backup soldiers or anything, or Satyr bombers or anything like that. Just the one dog. You can go ahead and dispatch him very easily. I wouldn't recommend using the QTE, especially at such low health, because you might just die. The final phase is just as easy as the second phase. It's just a bunch of archers and one Hades Soul Reaper guy whose name I refuse to acknowledge or learn what it may actually be. Just a bunch of armors and that one guy, and that's it. That'll be the final phase of this final fight before the final boss. Final boss, of course, being Persephone, which, man, first Ares trying to bring down the very walls of Olympus, and now Persephone is attempting to kill all the gods and destroy the world by destroying the pillar that holds the world afloat, using Atlas, who has taken Helios and is using that extra power to really lay in the hurt. Anyway, we've now dealt with the final Soul Reaper, so we can go ahead and move on to the final boss of the game. We're all done. That's it, and we got even more red orbs out of that, so if you still don't have enough to upgrade your things, you might have enough now. If not, then sorry, but you should have been looking harder for the white chest and stuff, which you can, thanks to my collectibles guide, which will be up after everything else is up. So that's pretty good. Here's the final save point of the game. And of course, one final look over on the menu just to see how far we've come, everything we've done, everything we can do now. Our blades are fully powered up. Our gauntlet is fully powered up. We have all the magic, the Ifrit, of course, the Light of Dawn, which we barely use, and Charon's Wrath. We have our shield for parrying stuff, and we have the lance for swimming, I guess, if that's important to you, even though we only swam once. We have all the eyes, all the feathers, all the things, and here is our final save point. Look at how far we've come, how many save points we have saved at. I'm going to overwrite that one just because that Basilisk Strike was a practice save. But yeah, we started at the gates of Attica. We came a long way in just a few hours, journeying to Marathon, journeying to the Temple of Helios, the Caves of Olympus, Hades, and now we are here. At the pillar that holds the world, it is time for the final boss against Persephone. Here we go. I will see you after this cutscene. Bye-bye.
Spartan, witness the end.
It's a very difficult final boss. Specifically, the first phase is very difficult. You'll notice Atlas had a hand that was glowing brightly. That hand that was glowing brightly from Atlas is actually Helios, who he's using to destroy the pillar and destroy the world and all that stuff. Anyway, Persephone herself, she is very difficult. But the strategy for actually dealing with her is actually pretty straightforward. She has only 3 attacks. She has that aerial dash, throwing a boulder at you, and a ground-based dash that she can also do. So there was the boulder toss, there was the ground-based dash, and she also has that aerial dash that she does at the beginning of the fight, and she's doing right now. So the actual strategy for hurting her, if she does the aerial dash, you have no hope of doing any damage to her at that time. If she does the boulder toss, you want to roll towards her, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but if you roll towards her, you're not going to take any damage, don't worry. If you roll towards her, you're not going to take any damage. Then she will usually follow up with a ground dash, at which point you can, as you can see, parry that with L1, then square after a proper parry. The parrying does the most damage to her, but after a boulder toss, you can also do some basic attacks with the Blades of Chaos. This is a fast and furious fight, just very quick movements. It's very basic strategy for actually dealing with her. Again, boulder toss, roll towards her, then during the ground dash, parry her, and get in any hits in the meantime. It's a very fast and furious, a dirty, quiet fight. as Atlas tries to destroy the world in the background. Both characters are very bitter and angry and rage-fueled, and there's no need for any epic music or anything, because, you know, this is just a brutal, dirty little fight here that we're dealing with. This phase of Persephone lasts until she is at about half health, after which we will move on to the second, much easier phase of the fight that gets more epic and more music-filled and stuff to lead us into the end. But for now, it's just a quiet, down and dirty battle. If she does the air dash, again, don't bother doing any parry attacks if you don't want to, unless you want the extra invincibility frames, because she's just gonna fly away and be too far away for anything. When she does the boulder throw, just roll towards her. She's gonna follow up with a ground dash usually. Parry that. She does a lot of damage with all of her attacks. The ground dash does the least amount of damage, so you have the best chance of surviving if you get hit by the ground dash. Also, if you get hit by the first attack of the ground dash, you can still parry the second backhand that she does at the very end of that combo. Once you get to the point when she spews out a bunch of red orbs, that is the end of the first phase.
Spartan, go to her. Be with her. Leave this world behind. Atlas!
I die one more time to the second phase of Persephone for a total of 28 deaths. Now we move on to the second phase itself. We have now enchained Atlas thanks to the Gauntlets of Zeus, so Atlas is no longer a threat. He's now holding up the world for us, so that's convenient. The second phase of Persephone is very easy. Persephone only has a few attacks, and the strategy is very simple. She's going to throw a big orb at you, and when she does throw that orb at you, you're just going to play tennis with her, a la Legend of Zelda and Ganondorf, as so. You will reflect it back to her the appropriate amount of times. You will get close to her. Then you would do the Olympic L1 triangle aerial attack to do as much damage to her as possible. If you manage to get off 3 of those L1 triangle attacks with the Gauntlet of Zeus, she will automatically move on to her next phase, because it does just enough damage to move her on to the next phase. She has 2 other attacks aside from throwing the green orbs at you. She's going to spew some beams from the ground that you have to dodge away from, or she's just going to fire a beam directly from her hands that you have to dodge away from. I died the first time because I was trying to show off the beam attacks. I got all the way to the end of the fight, and she hadn't done it yet, so I was worried that she was not going to show off that attack at all, so I wanted to faff around just to make sure that she did that attack. It's going to take more and more parries after each and every single mini phase of this battle, to the point where it takes 4 parries, and then you just hit her 3 more times here. And that's it. We're done. Now go to the sunspot of Helios.
Your suffering will never end. Ghost of Sparta.
Perhaps you believe the Olympians will help you. But I ask, where are your gods now, Kratos? Why do they not come to your aid? I do not need the aid of the gods! But my path is now clear to me. I will serve them! and they will keep their promise to free me from my past!
I ask you, Spartan, what good is the promise of an Olympian?
It is all I have, Atlas!
We will meet again, Spartan. The fates have deemed it. One day, you will regret what you have done here.
The mighty Atlas was left enchained, cursed to forever hold the world on his shoulders. Greater penance than even Zeus himself had placed on the Titans. The fate of Atlas had been sealed, and the goddess Persephone was no more. Kratos had saved mankind, but that mattered little to him. By forsaking his daughter, he had abandoned the only person he ever cared for. What he had long sought and finally found was now forever lost. As the sun chariot rose higher in the sky, and the might of Helios shone once again on the world, Morpheus retreated to the shadows. Kratos gained little satisfaction from his victory. With years of servitude in front of him, he would need to confront his past and fight to reclaim the humanity he lost on the day his dark legend was born.
And that's it. That's the game. Persephone's dead. Atlas is now keeping the world on his shoulders, and that's it. Kratos is doomed to continue his servitude for God knows how much longer. Gods know how much longer. Actually, they don't know. Just going to be unending in this case. If they would have it their way, it would be completely unending. Yeah. Great game. Great game, great plot, great combat, great proof of concept that God of War goes on and can be a franchise that can survive, not being on a main console if it didn't have to be. Yeah, it's a wonderful experience made by the team at Ready at Dawn. Fantastic, I enjoyed every minute of it. Next time, we're going to move on to the original God of War, but of course there is an extras video for Chains of Olympus and a collectibles guide for all of the white chests that may contain either Gorgon's Eyes, Phoenix Feathers, or just red orbs that are coming. Then that'll be that. Next time, we're going to move on to the original God of War, 2005 PlayStation 2's hit that started it all, the original God of War. 10 years into Kratos' servitude, we will see what happens next. Until then, enjoy the rest of the credits. They did the job for me of adding some stuff in the background to keep you watching. And keep a lookout because there is going to be a post-credit scene that sets up the next title, the original God of War. So enjoy that, enjoy the rest of these credits, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great day.
The dire toll of his relentless battles finally caught up with him as Kratos fell from the chariot to the earth. Was this sacrifice too much for one to bear, even for the man who was known as the Ghost of Sparta?
He has again served us well, Athena.
He is a remarkable mortal.
He is weak. Shall we help him?
He'll live. They must.